hello and welcome. This is your host, Kendfoster. You know, it's a great day to be alive. That's how I feel today. I hope you're feeling the same way. But you know, it always wasn't that way for me. Back in 1992, I was facing some really great challenges. You see, my relationships were falling apart. My financial life was falling apart, even though I was making lots and lots of money, right? Running a $200 million organization that I helped start from scratch. That was falling apart. My friendships were falling apart. My health was falling apart. I was estranged from my family and my children. What a terrible life, making a lot of money and not really having a quality life, right? Well, that day in March 17th of 1992, I heard this little voice saying, you got to feel the pain to make the change. I walked into my counselor. I told him that. He looked at me. I've been with him for over a year. Counseling is a great therapist and helped me a lot, helped me get to the point where I could see reality clearly. And he says, Ken, I can't help you anymore. You got to follow that voice. That was the voice of courage. That was a voice of strength and hope. I didn't know that at the time. As I walked out of his office, I was wondering, is he crazy? Doesn't he like me anymore? Why is he telling me to follow that voice? Then something came over me. It said, do the hardest thing that you don't want to do. Do the worst thing you don't want to do. What was that? That was making that phone call that I needed to make. It was making a phone call to AA. I called him up. I found a meeting. I walked into the meeting that evening. Big guy by the name of Jim. I never forget. He welcomed me at the door. He said, welcome home. That changed my life completely. Everything changed for me. Today, our show is not about me. It's about you. It is about sobriety. It's about stepping up, changing your consciousness. You know, when you change your thinking, you could change your life. But if you're in your denial of your challenges that you're having in life, then you can't change, right? I know I was in deep denial over my addictions at the time. And, you know, it finally had to get to a point where I couldn't take it anymore. But I don't want you to have to get to that point. I'm hoping that this show will bring you some solace, some understanding, some wisdom, and the courage to make the changes that you need to make to step into a life filled with joy, hope, happiness. Sure, there's some challenges along the way. We all get those, right? That's how we grow. That's how we learn. That's how we evolve. But I can assure you of this. If this show is the one that moves you to the next level, I'm praying it is. Or maybe you have a family member that you want to let them know about this show, or a friend that you say, hey, just check out this show. It's an important show. It's a powerful show. And I have a very special guest that's going to be coming up here after the break. And he's going to go into the depth of what I just talked about. Only we're going to take a deep dive into it and help you to surprise yourself, uplift yourself, and go to the next level. All right, we got to take a break. I'll be right back.
Whether because of discomfort, lack of mobility, your lifestyle, or occupation, you sit inactively way too many hours a day. Introducing Ellipse, the premium quality automatic seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation without physical strain or impact.
It is so quiet that none of my coworkers even know I'm using it.
Strengthen and tone your legs, increase your mobility, flexibility, and balance. Plus, stimulate healthy circulation.
My joints feel better, my knees feel better, my back feels better. It makes me feel stronger too.
Perfect for home therapy. Whisper quiet to use while you work.
My circulation is moving, I'm burning calories, and it makes me feel energetic.
Call now and order Ellipse, the seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation. Call and get upgraded to the Deluxe Bundle. Get the faster motor or 5 miles of steps per hour, the step counter, the sport mat, and wireless remote. Call now.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Kendfoster, your host. We're calling this show Healit with Sobriety. And my guest is Dustin Dunbar. Dustin, welcome to the show, man. It's great to have you.
Thank you, Ken. It's awesome to be here.
It's awesome to have you, man. For those of you that don't know Dustin, he grew up in a poor Midwest family with abusive, alcohol-addicted father and grandfather, vowed never to be like them. He devoured psychology books and researched addiction in his 20s. But unfortunately, in 2009, Dustin was, is that it? Yeah, wait, hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. But what happened is that Dustin, he also earned a doctorate in psychology and believed at that time he had broken his family's chains. Unfortunately, he hadn't. He succumbed to the alcohol addiction himself, but turned that around, and that's what we're talking about him today. He's got a new book out. 2009, Dustin was handpicked by Ryan Seacrest for the LA Shrink, and I can't even say that. Endemol Productions, as a Dallas life coach, where Dunbar was the shrink and life coach on those pilots. I love that, man. That's so cool. Anyway, hey, you overcame your addiction at 48. It's now 5 years later. You got a new book out. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, and we were talking before, and you were 42 when you stopped. So I told you I was jealous because that's 6 years of alcohol-free life that you got on me, and I look back at my life and I'm like, oh my gosh, what would have been like if I would have been alcohol-free the whole time? Like, because now it's all about this joy that is within. It's natural, beautiful joy that, you talk about living your life to the fullest is the title of the show. I was thinking, like everybody in the world now, we're addicted to alcohol. And I call it ethanol, which is the scientific term for alcohol. And the alcohol industry has done such a good job brainwashing us to believe that it's the elixir of life, that you're living this amazing, beautiful, high conscious, fun, sexy life with this substance. And whenever I started really researching it about 5 years ago, I realized immediately that this is ethanol. So you're going to hear me talk a lot today about ethanol and joy. Those are the two things. Remove the ethanol and live an alcohol-free life, and you will experience joy that only like Buddha, Jesus, all these saints, mystics, they talk about, and they're not joking. Whenever I was doing my doctorate in psychology, I'd had a lot of spiritual psychology background with that. And every one of them talk about this joy within, and you are that joy, and you have that light, and you have that peace within you. But with the alcohol industry and the brainwashing and the 5 ads per day, billboards, radio, TV that you grow up with watching Budweiser frogs, with the toucan for Guinness, all these things that were programmed into our childhood consciousness of this is fun. This is great. We're seeing all these things. And I fell right into that trap. I was completely brainwashed from very young age, like most of my peers at my age. And we have this consciousness out there, this collective consciousness that alcohol is this amazing thing. And whenever
Well, it's not. And it's not that amazing thing that it is. It's a big illusion. But, I think you're making a great point. One of the diseases, one of the challenge with alcohol is that it really is a disease. I'm gonna flip it around. A lot of people call it disease of denial. I think it's a disease of programming too, like you're saying. I think that people are just programmed into this, Dustin. And we wake up one day and the brain's not working right. The health isn't there. The friends are leaving. The finances are going down the tubes. And you go, what the heck's happened? What happened? I know that's what happened to me. Probably happened to you. Probably happens to just about everybody that gets on that path. Why is this, man? I mean, why is our society, do you think, so involved? Is it just the dollar for the buck for the alcohol companies? I mean, what's going on here?
Yeah. So in my book, I researched the heck out of the history of alcohol and ethanol and where it came from and the whole bit. And so we've got to understand that this is a massive collective conscious that goes back tens of thousands of years, and it's been around for that long. And it was the only painkiller of physical and mental pain that was on this planet until opioids started about 200 years ago. So we've got this deep collective illusion that this is a really good thing. right? But whenever it was shamans, it was all kinds of medicine men, it was even priests using this as a ceremonial product as well. So Cleopatra, whenever she started to tax it, they went absolutely crazy, and against her. And so you've got to look at this and go, okay, we've got a deep, deep collective unconscious illusion about this, and it's because of our past. And so then you add on now the big alcohol industry, which is just like big tobacco. And they're doing the exact same thing that big tobacco did, which was saying how cool and how sexy, how much fun you have on this product. And whenever it's causing tons of cancer in 2020 at the height of COVID, whenever 1.8 million people died of COVID, 3 million people died of alcohol, all kinds of alcohol issues. So if we really, people a lot of times say, oh, Dustin, it's not that big a deal. I'm like, okay, then COVID wasn't that big a deal. It shut down the entire world and made this thing big, and it's twice as negative on our health as COVID was, and we're really not doing a lot about it. The younger generation is starting to wake up more than we did and see through the lies of the alcohol industry and just the consciousness, like you were saying, like what is this reason of it, and seeing that it's an old product that causes tons of health issues, mental, physical, spiritual, and ethanol. No one should be consuming ethanol on any kind of regular basis. It's car.
Well, what I get, Justin, is that, this probably happened to you, but I know it definitely happened to me. I think it happens to a lot of us, the psychologists, tell us that, your income, your social level, your, just about where you're stationed in life and everything, it's probably going to be pretty close to your closest 6 friends. Now, that's also true for alcohol. If you look up, if you're going, well, I don't really have a problem with alcohol, and you look around and you say, well, all my friends drink, it's all normal. We go out and get partied, we get drunk, we do this, and you go, well, that's just normal. I mean, look at the commercials, like Justin said. Look at everybody around me. They're all the same. If that's you, I guarantee you got an issue. You got an issue with it. Yeah. And that's the problem. We don't address the fact that we have issues with it. If you've, you ever wake up with hangovers, you wake up not remembering what happened the night before, you pretend like everything's okay, but you're driving buzzed, right? You got an issue with it. And I think that's the challenge. We don't have enough education out in the marketplace that tell people, man, this is really impacting your life. We start out the show this way, Justin. You talked about, joy. There is no joy. If you think you're having fun and joy with alcohol, I guarantee it, that's not real joy. That's illusion joy that is all made up in your head. But when you learn to use the principles of, what do I want to say? Learn how to master your mind, master your emotions, master the results in your life, you can start to tune in and master, and tune into that real joy. What do you say to that?
Yeah, with ethanol in your bloodstream on a consistent basis, and I'm talking about even weekends. People looking for the weekend. Oh man, if I could just make it to the weekend, then drinking it up and doing it on the weekends. You're numbing your consciousness down, and you're numbing your central nervous system. That we've just now figured out what ethanol does to the body after all this years and everything. And what it does is numbs the central nervous system. In numbing that, you're numbing everything. Whenever you do that, and so your consciousness is going below, and that is whenever you're feeling like what we call a high, it's actually a low, and you're numbing out. So whenever you think, oh, you're experiencing this joyous stuff, it's below joy. Joy is above physical. It's above mental. You're in this spiritual love state, and it is what is really real with a capital R that can never be touched, can never be ever die. It was never born. It is that pure essence of what we truly are underneath. And to get that on a consistent basis and to feel that, I never got it until when I was a child, I had it, before I was drinking, I was playing soccer and joy and dancing and singing, things like that natural children state, just like Jesus says, we to be like children, to enter the kingdom of heaven, we need to be like children. And so what he's talking about is that joy and that underneath, and when you're consuming ethanol, that's not going to happen. You are never going to live your fullest life if you're consuming ethanol on a consistent basis.
I totally agree with that. And here's the thing, I want to ask you this question. I got to take a break. We'll come back and you can answer it. But how long does it take ethanol to get out of your system? And also I want to just plus that piece with Jesus is, that's that place where, most people that drink for a while, they have staunch opinions. They're stubborn. They're going to do it this way, or they got big egos. And listen, if that's you are not entering the kingdom of heaven. You're not, because you're just running on the mind. You forgot about the heart and the soul. And so that's when you can let go of just running on your head and having this ethanol. I love that ethanol in your system running you. Your life is going to get much better when you let go of that. That's all I can tell. I know from experience, right? So listen, I'm going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Dustin's new book. And this, by the way, this book has not only we're talking about right here, it's got so much more in it to help you along the line of getting sober and staying sober. That's what it's all about. All right, I'm going to take a quick break. We come back, we'll talk about the book, and I want you to answer that question. How long does ethanol stay in our system? We'll be right back.
Imagine this is your money and someone wants to take it from you. Who is it? The IRS. Guess what? They want your money and they can take it, all of it if they want. Remember, they sent you that letter right over here that said, hey, you owe us a bunch of cash and we're going to take it from you right now. So what do? You fight back by letting our team of experts work it out with the IRS so you can keep your money. And hey, we're good at what we do. When you hire us, you get a team of guys on your side that know the IRS laws, and we'll fight really hard to save your money. So, if you owe the IRS a ton of cash and you want to keep it, call right now and learn for free how we can help you put it back in your pocket. 5 minutes of your time right now can save you thousands of dollars. And the best part, it's a free call, so please call right now.
Welcome back, everybody. This is your host, kendfoster, and I'm talking to Dustin Dunbar. Dustin, let's answer that question real quick. How long does ethanol stay in your system?
So for me, there's always two systems. There's the physical and the mental. And then, there's three, spiritual as well. But the physical part is 10 days. That's the average time that it really takes to get it all flushed out physically. Yeah. And then mentally, everybody's different. We've all got our different backgrounds, our different karma, our different lives. But what I do in the book is I show different stages of what happened to me and what's the average. And so once you're getting into that 10 days, after that, you really start seeing your body, like skin, come alive. You start sleeping better. You start doing things that are really, really like, you're like having moments of joy that you're like, what is this? Because it's leaving you and it's out of your system. For a lot of people though, like myself as well, I started having a really hard time because I'm uncovering a Band-Aid is what's happening. I was numbing my consciousness. I was trying to kill the pain. I was trying to avoid childhood issues that I thought that I dealt with when I was studying all my psychology stuff. And I hadn't personally dealt with it. I was helping other people. And then whenever I took that Band-Aid off, that alcohol numbingness, it really made it where I was like, oh my gosh, I have been covering up childhood trauma from my father abandoning me and being addicted to alcohol and being abusive, all these things. So there was tons of fear that came up and I had to deal with that head on. I had to look at myself in the mirror and really get in there. So that's what this is all about, is what I'm doing is giving back. I didn't.
Well, I think some people, when they hear that, go, gosh, I don't want to feel all that or childhood pain or struggles, everything. But I want to say something. If you watch my show at all, you know that we've had a lot of scientists come on here that are studying the body and studying the effects of food and emotions and whatnot on the body. I think it's 60% of people right now have baseline stress. They have stress they don't even realize they have. And stress leads to, they say, about 80 to 90% of all physical illnesses is caused through your stress. But listen, it's not just, what's the baseline stress caused from? And Justin just said, it's usually emotional dramas that happened in the past that hasn't been dealt with. And so instead of dealing with it, we use alcohol, we use drugs, Mother's Little Helper years ago. I guess those are the volumes are still out there. We use food, we use shopping, we use a lot of different things you could be addicted to. Now the internet, right? That try to numb yourself down so you don't feel it. But, it always comes back. It catches you, Justin. Listen, Justin's got his amazing book out right now. You're Doing Great and Other Lies Alcohol Told Me. I love that. You're Doing Great and Other Lies. How'd you come up with the title, man?
I got to give credit to my publisher for that one. They were awesome. They were super creative, and I loved them. So they get credit for that one.
Yeah. Why'd you write the book?
I wrote it to help other people. I went through it, and whenever I came out of it. So I know you went through AA. My grandfather went through AA. My brother went through AA. It wasn't for me. I tried it. I went in and I was like, it's not resonating at all. So Annie Grace had a book out, and she really, that connected with me. And there's we get into this, there's no competition in this in becoming alcohol free. However you need to become alcohol free, whatever it is, try it all. Try everything. And whatever resonates for you, stay with it. That's it. And we get into this whole thing of you got to do this. Oh, there's 8 billion people on the planet. We each have our own way of our background of dealing with alcohol and our history of it. So there's going to be, your way is the best way. And if you use multiple ways, let's say you use my book, you go to AA, you do Annie Grace, you do all these different things. It doesn't matter. It's just keep focused on not consuming ethanol on a consistent basis, and your life will get better. And I do want to say, the hard part for me, it was so worth it to get through it. If what I consider the hero's journey is what you're doing is saying, okay, I'm going to brave this. I'm going to go on this journey of alcohol-free life. And at the end, all the saints, all the mystics, all of the are telling me that at the end of there's this rainbow, and I can assure you they are right. It is there for you. You are joy. You are peace. You are light inside of you. You cannot experience that with ethanol in your system on a consistent basis. And so do the hero's journey. Get out there, get the books, get on the apps, get on anything you need to do and make the journey. Get out.
And I want to plus that a little bit. I think that when I first, I first thought about quitting, we formed a quit club with several other addicts, right? We had no guidance. We had no, we just sat around and, we were trying to, basically you self-willed it to get it done. That is not going to work. Okay. What's going to work is what Dustin is saying. He's saying, get his book. Okay. Find a group, find somebody that can support you, whether it's a therapist, a coach, an AA group, an NA group, an Al-Anon group, whatever it is. Find somebody to support you, some group or some person, and just go do it. It takes courage to walk in and ask for help. Now, it takes courage for all of us. But if you don't step into courage doesn't show up until you step into the unknown, by the way. So if you go, well, I don't have that courage to do that. Well, that's because all you have to do is tell your brain, shut up and take action. Make that phone call, get Dustin's book, do what you need to do today to get that support. and I guarantee you will be on the track, right, Dustin?
Yeah, and only 10% of heavy drinkers, are what we consider the full-blown underneath the kitchen sink, grabbing the bottle in the morning, that kind of thing. What I'm really focused on is the 90% of people who drink on a consistent basis and feel like crap. They think they're having this great life. The 10% are more like hospital type recovery programs, and then they can come down to what I'm doing with the 90%. I was living this life, it sounds like similar to you, where I making a ton of money, flying around on private jets, going to these golf courses around the world, doing shots of, tequila on the golf courses, and, trying to be cool with the guys and sales and making all this money. And it just caught up to me with addiction, because alcohol is addictive. It's 100% addictive to everybody. Do not fall into the trap that the big alcohol companies say, oh, you can drink socially, moderately, responsibly, because that is like saying you're dealing with an addictive product. It's proven to be 100% addictive to everybody. I played rugby over in England, and those guys drink like crazy. And at the time I was like, man, these guys can handle their alcohol. You cannot. They are all now addicted to alcohol. None of them can handle. You're 6'5", 250 and beast.
Yeah. And I think I want to clarify this, okay? So it may look on the surface that somebody's handling their alcohol, and underneath the surface is what counts. I can guarantee you that man or woman is not thinking the way they can. They're not tuning in to what I would say the universal mind of the universal mind, right? I'd say universal mind of God, or the Akashic records. Or there's a lot of names for this, but listen, thought is not individual. Thought is universal. If you have an alcoholic, or I don't even like that word. If you got somebody's drinking, using drugs, whatever, and they're in Japan and they're doing the same thing over here, I can guarantee you're having about the same thoughts coming into that head, because you're tuning into a database of thought that's right there. So if you want to change your life, you got to change your thinking. That you change your thinking, you got to get a book like Dustin's. By the way, Dustin, what's the benefits of people buying this book?
The main thing is joy. It leads you. It leads you to what you truly are inside. And once you're through it, I've had a lot of people tell me that they, AA didn't resonate for them for whatever reason. And then they read this and they don't drink anymore. I was just over at my dog sitter's house, and her husband was drinking a bunch. And he was like, I didn't really know that ethanol was alcohol. And that was me too. I had done a lot of studies and everything. And I'm like, oh my God, this is really nasty stuff. This is the byproduct of rotten fruit and vegetables. That is what you say ABV, alcohol by volume. I always say EBV, ethanol by volume. And I'm from Oklahoma, where all these guys got these amazing trucks. They're like $100,000, and they pull up, at the gas station with me, and we're hunting and fishing, do all this stuff. They're like, I'm not putting any of that ethanol in my truck. And then we'll go out the field after, and they're just guzzling ethanol in their body, and they're putting it in their brain and tissue. And you're looking at it going, the brainwashing of the alcohol industry has done so well. And then the petroleum industry has done so well at saying how bad ethanol is, because they want you to buy real gas. So it's this funny thing. So it's just all these little things in the book that make it where we're uncovering the truth, and we're saying, this is bullshit. You can do better.
Yeah. Well, there's an old saying that, the truth will set you free. And it's true. And I really like what you're saying. I like the comparison to cigarettes, because I've never known anyone that smoked cigarettes that was truthful that didn't say they were addicted. Okay. I don't know anybody like that. And it's the same thing with alcohol, except that alcohol is, it's this, at one point, by the way, when I grew up, cigarettes you could smoke them in bars and restaurants. You could smoke them in movie theaters, on airplanes. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Everywhere. But everywhere, but then people started getting wise, right? And you don't get to do that anymore, right? because they know the damaging effects of the cancers and the health issues. Cancer is just one health issue with cigarettes. It's the same thing with alcohol. There's no difference. And I like what you're saying. It's an addictive substance that if you're consuming it, it's like in my world, I might be a little radical, but it's like liquid death. Now I know there's an energy drink called liquid death, but if you've ever read the chemicals on that one, it probably is. I don't know. I don't drink it. So I look at the chemicals and I go, wow, you don't want to put that in your body. Do you want to put ethanol in your body? That's what Dustin's saying. All right. What else, Dustin? What else is what?
So yeah, let me touch on the cigarette thing. My mom's a perfect example of that era. So we're having our cigarette moment with ethanol, and it's this is the beginning of it right now. The younger generation is seeing this for what it is, and the science is coming out on ethanol of what it truly does to the mind, the brain, and the cancer, and what we're seeing. So my mom was back in that day is thinking, I said, why do you smoke? Why did you smoke? She said, well, I started because everybody was doing it. It was on TV and it was cool and sexy and everything like that. And it was just a social thing to do. And the whole time when she's talking about it, it sounds exactly like what alcohol is. It's cool. It's sexy. It's everybody's doing it. It's a thing to do. And so now with all this coming out and showing the cancer. So it's in New Zealand, they just come out with a big study on breast cancer for women, and only 2 drinks per week, not per day, 2 drinks per week causes a 15% increase in breast cancer. That is a massive jump in you're basically screaming at the universe, I want cancer, if you're drinking ethanol on any kind of consistent basis. And what's really coming out with cancer studies is how much ethanol is contributing to that. And so we've got to really just be conscious of this stuff and go, it's addictive and it causes cancer. And it does also 200 other physical diseases. And we're not even getting into the mental health part, all the abuse, the date rapes, the things that happen whenever we're on this. The college date rape scene with ethanol is just out of control. Your heart goes out to everybody involved with that. And so alcohol-free life, the alcohol-free revolution is what I started. It's alcoholfreerevolution.org. So anybody out there that needs help with all this, we have coaches ready to go, sitting by the side, and it's free. There's no charge, no fee. And I did it as an alternative to AA because of what I experienced, and it's been helping a lot of people.
That's awesome, man. I so commend you for doing that. And, I'll just throw on a couple other ones, that we know with the diseases of alcohol. There's cirrhosis of the liver, right? There's fatty liver disease. There is, a lot of people that continue to drink, I think one of the biggest challenges is what you said. It's that emotional challenge. When we're using substances like alcohol, ethanol, let's call it like it is, what's happening is that you're not dealing with your emotions. If you're not dealing with your emotions, you're emotionally stunted. And if you're emotionally stunted, that's going to affect every area of your life, whether you're in a marriage, whether you're in your business, whether it's with friends. You're going to be emotionally stunted. You won't know how to handle conversations that are tough because you go out and fix it, you mask over it, you numb yourself out instead of dealing with it head on. It's been said that whatever age you started that addiction is about your emotional age. And I think that there's a lot of accuracy to that. All right. I got to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk about some of the ways that my audience right now, today, if you're listening to this, you're going, okay, I got to do something. You just gave them the website. I want to give them it again. But I want on the emotional side, that thought that blocks people, stops people from taking action. I want to talk about that so that we can move past that limitation and help you to step into greater joy, happiness, love, and connection. We'll be right back.
Hi, everyone watching at home. We're here to remind you that if you or someone you know were injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have live agents available right now to answer your questions and tell you how much your case is potentially worth. Hi, I'm Gina Bellich, here with spokesman and TV personality Tom Mustin with us in the Help Center. So Tom, phones are really busy over there. Tell us what kind of calls you're seeing.
Well, Gina, first off, thank you for having me here in the call center with you. We always enjoy talking to the viewers and getting folks the compensation that they deserve. You know, we're seeing calls about all kinds of accidents, but the most common by far has been car accidents. So if you or someone you know were injured in an accident that was not your fault, give us a call right now. You'll speak with a live person. They'll answer any questions you have and tell you if you have a case and how much your case is potentially worth.
Thanks, Tom. All right, folks at home, you heard it. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now.
Hi, folks. Joe Namath here. Did you know that I wear hearing aids? I love my hearing aids, and I am here to help you get a deal on the same brand I wear.
Don't waste thousands on expensive hearing aids when you can get MD Hearing's revolutionary Neo hearing aids for just $297 a pair. The Neo is a true hearing aid, not an amplifier. With rechargeable technology many customers say is superior to more expensive models. And you can get 2 Neo hearing aids with a 45-day risk-free trial, free shipping, and free lifetime US-based support for only $297. The Neo is nearly invisible with its tiny in-the-ear canal design.
Call my friends at MD Hearing and get the over-the-counter hearing aids that I use for you.
Call now and get not 1 but 2 Neo hearing aids for just $297.
800-789-7885. Again, that's 800-789-7885.
This is your host, kendfoster. I'll be right back with my guest, Dustin Dunbar. But before I get to him, I want to say this to you. If you go to kendfoster.com, there is some free gifts on that website, one of which is something called the release process. It will help you to dive deep into your emotional challenges of the past, be able to face them and release them and move into a much more joy and happiness in your life. kendfoster.com. Also, if you are listening to this show, do us a favor, do yourself and do your family a favor and your friends. Pass this show on to at least one other person and give us a subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss any of our shows. Okay, back to Dustin. All right, Dustin. All right, facing uncomfortable truths, right? Limitations. What don't people want? It's like, I don't want to even hear this show. I don't even know if I can listen to this show. All right, if we get over that, how do you help people to get into sobriety, man?
Yeah, so for me, the word sober, if you look it up in the dictionary, it means subdued, sedate, and low energy words. And so I say alcohol free. I am a joyous alcohol free man. And I didn't want to be sober. I didn't want to be subdued, sedate, and just like, oh, I'm addicted for like, that is the key to what I'm talking about is once you go through the difficult times of removing the Band-Aid and removing you're numbing yourself down and trying to deal with self-confidence, all these things that are fear-based. You're afraid that your friends will leave you. You can't hang out with parties anymore. You won't have fun at weddings. All these things that you think you're having so much fun at with alcohol involved, you can do them in a way more joyous state without it. And you will wake up the next day feeling like, oh my gosh, you're this being that wants to eat well, wants to work out, wants to laugh, wants to play with your kids, and your kids like you. They, break the generational chains. That's what we're doing here with all of this. Our families, our past, they all drank, the society, the social norm, everything like that. Unconscious pain is what they were covering up. And the only thing that they had at the time was ethanol to do this. And so we now can evolve out of this low collective illusion that ethanol benefits us in any way. Once we do that, we will reach these joyous things and get into this beautiful life of working out and being with your kids, and you'll live longer. You'll look so much better. Your skin will be vibrant, your eyes. I mean, it's just one of those things where everything changes. But yeah, 70% of people that drink heavily have had some sort of childhood trauma. So you've got to have help along the way. You got to be vulnerable. You got to get out of denial. Biggest thing for me was like, oh, I'm not really addicted. Look at all my friends. They're drinking on the weekends. They're doing this. Everybody's doing the same thing, like you were saying earlier in the show. Don't be doing the same thing. Don't be one of the cattle. Get out and do your own thing. You know deep inside that this stuff is not good for you at all. And now it's proven in a major way, scientifically, to be horrible for you. It's time to face your fears, get out of that old consciousness, and ascend into what you truly are. And that's that joy and peace.
You see, you can't if you don't have a healthy mind and healthy emotions, then you don't have balance in your life, and you're probably not living a healthy lifestyle, right? I doubt, most people that are out there, partying on the weekends, and I say most because some do, some can beat the odds, but, most of them are out there, you're not at the gym, right? Every day working out or every other day. Okay. You're probably, postponing things in your life that you really like to do. You're probably about working at, I would say, depending on the advancement of your addiction, you're working at either 10% to 80, 90% less efficient than you normally would if you didn't have ethanol in your system. Okay. Just imagine if you were 10 to 80% more efficient in your life, how much better your life would be. And, this is the physical side. But I think the other part I want to touch on, Dustin, is, and you touched on it briefly, is there's a spiritual side to this. And I think there's a part where you got to look at and ask yourself, why am I here? What's the purpose of life? What's the purpose of this lifetime? And, when you're in your rocking chair and you're sitting back, maybe you won't be in a rocking chair. Well, if you're drinking and partying and shit, you will be in a rocking chair. But, you can look back and you say, hey, man, is this life, am I leaving a legacy? What's the legacy I'm leaving? Was this life fulfilling? Did I feel joyful? Did I contribute in the world? Did I evolve myself mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, relationship wise? Or what, did I live a mediocre life or just getting by or hanging in there? I think that's the difference, Dustin. It's like night and day when especially over the years, you can see the difference.
Yeah, I agree 100%. The thing for me with the spirituality is everything. My consciousness, where am I being intentional? Am I being kind? And when I do that, I am experiencing joy for myself. So it's funny, you sit there and you go, all I have to do really is focus on being kind to others and how can I help and serve and do that. And then I get to experience all this joy and love and peace. I'm like, okay, it's that simple. And yeah, it is. And so when I was drinking, I thought that I was, making all this money and having a big house and all these things. And I'm like, oh, I'm living the life that everybody tells me that's going to bring me this joy. And it didn't. It was like, wait a minute. I'm looking around in this big, beautiful Hawaii house. I got the cars, I've got the wife, I've got the 2 kids. And I'm like, I'm not fulfilled at all. This isn't it. What is happening? And so it's all about that inner peace that you can. Once I started getting out of that system, what I call the Disneyland, American dream, corporate America stuff, I started saying, okay, I'm changing this up completely because it didn't work. I got to the mega point of it, and it was like, okay, no, this is not it. So then I just went inside, and inside is where I stayed. And now I live my life from the inside out. Am I truly?
Well, I want to plus a couple of things. We're almost out of time here that you said, it's that being kind to others. Is that it? Well, we got to be of service to others, but, kindness starts with ourselves. And if you're out there abusing your body and you're out there doing things, listen, we all got a conscience. you know when you're off track. We all do. We can deny it. We can say, no, that's not right. But they have a little voice in there that says, man, unless maybe you're a sociopath. I guess some of those people just have that. But most people do. Okay. And that's what Dustin is reaching, the 90% of you that are up drinking a little bit here and there, partying a little bit, smoking pot here, dropping a pill here, drinking over here, vaping over here, just a little bit. A little bit's not going to hurt you. Well, we're here to tell you is that you are playing with fire, and man, it is time to let it go and let God in your life. I'm about to say that because that's why, that spiritual side is so important. 30 years ago, when I learned how to meditate, it changed everything in my life completely, right? Everything. Now, you don't have to be a meditator. Prayer will work the same way, but you got to know how to pray. You got to understand. And when your mind is full of substances and addiction thoughts, okay, you're not reaching anything deep. You're on the surface, man. So that's my message to everybody today. Dustin, we're out of time, man. Final thoughts to you.
Yeah, meditation. Get into it. That's where it's at. Go inside, meditate, see what those thoughts are, change them up, be positive. Every time you have some kind of weird negative thought, just know that's not you. That's not who you truly are. You are peace, you are joy, you are lightness, and your utmost essence. And let's uncover that and get off the ethanol and live that life.
Love it, man. The book is You're Doing Great and Other Lies Alcohol Told Me by Dustin Dunbar. I hope you go check it out. It's a powerful read, and it's something that if you're resonating with this, just go do it. It takes courage to make a change in our lives. But all of you all got courage. You just need to take the action around it. All right. Take care, Dustin. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you and appreciate everything you're doing here. All righty. For the rest of you, I love this show, don't you? Pass it on to your friends and family. Listen, we can all heal it. It doesn't matter if it's mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, whether it's addiction, whether it's something from the outside or the inside. You can heal it all if you get on the quest, if you are courageous and you decide enough is enough. I'm sick and tired of being this way. Then that's the first step. Then you listen to the show, you get the help you need, and you take your life to the next level. Take care.